Hi, this is 11.1, center, radius, and diameters of a circle. So we're basically going to talk about the parts of a circle. And as you can see, we're going to be looking at the diameter. And the diameter is going to be a line that goes from side to side and goes through the center of the circle. In this case, center of the circle is known as P. The diameter is just a line segment. It has a beginning and an end. So let's look at the radius. The radius is also a line segment, and it has one endpoint on the side, and other endpoint is also on the center of the circle. A quick reminder that when we name a segment, that we call it by the beginning and the end point. So if I'm looking at AB, I would call that line segment AB. BC is I begin at B and I end at C, and line segment AC is right here, beginning and ending at AC. If I want to refer to the length of these segments, I could say, line AB equals 3 inches, or I could also say line AC equals 3 inches. To make sure that we cover some vocabulary as well, please note that AB is not a radius because it does not go through the center point. We would just call this a chord. And that when we're writing line segments, we put the little one line above so that we know we're talking about a line segment. So this is an art class and it's been asked to develop this logo, and they're trying to determine which are the radii and which are the diameters. So pause the video for a moment and see if you can group these into the correct places. Does yours match mine? Let's check to see if I've done this correctly. Yay, I did. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, two radii of a circle that lie on the same line form a diameter. If we look down here, we have one radius, and another radius. So we have two radii. So that if I have two radius of two radii, that is equal to one diameter. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're being asked if from a car to the center of the Ferris wheel is 221 feet. Approximately how tall is the Ferris wheel? Well, we know if we have from one car to the center that we're going to have 221 feet. So if I remember that I had 2 radius equals 1d, so I plug in 221.5 feet where I have r for radius, and I multiply that by 2, and that equals d. What does 2 times 221.5 actually equal? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be approximately 443 feet. We're not accounting from the ground all the way up, but it is an approximation that we can use using the radius. 2 radius equals 1 diameter to get the approximate. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to use our know, need, and plan, and the magic word is going to be citrus. So make sure you put that on your video log. So we have an example. The expression is 3x minus 1 represents the diameter of an orange. What is the value of x? So we have to think, well, what do we know? So we know the radius is 2.5 inches. We get that from down here. And the diameter is 3x minus 1. Okay, so I need the formula of 2 times r equals d, so 2 radius equals d. So I'm going to plug in 2.5 in for r and solve for d. So let's go ahead and try that on our own. Okay, so we see that this is exactly what we were supposed to do with plugging in 2.5 for r. We take 2 times 2.5, we find the diameter is 5. So the diameter of the orange slice is 5 inches. That's a pretty big orange. We can write the equation and solve for x. So now we have three x minus 1 equals 5. 3x minus 1 plus 1 equals 5 plus 1. Remember what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. I end up with 3x equals 6. If 3x equals 6, I have 3 being multiplied to x. I need to get x by itself. So to undo that, we do the inverse operation, which is divide by 3, and we get x is 2. So we found that the value for x is actually 2. Some of you might have thought you were done at step 1 when we found what the diameter is, but we were actually looking for what is the value of x. So we needed to take that extra step. So ladies and gentlemen, here's one last one for us to try. It's saying k to m is 2x minus 4, and they're telling us that from here to here is 12. And it's asking us to solve for x. So remember, once you find the diameter, you still have to keep going. So let's try this one. So when we find 2 times r, which is 12, we find that the diameter is 24, but remember we're not done. There's another step. We're solving for x. So we rewrite the equation as 2x minus 4 equals 24. Our goal is to get x by itself, so I need to start doing PEMDAS in reverse. So I'm looking for anything I can add or subtract to get it away from 2x. So I added a 4 to both sides. When I did that, I got 2x equals 28. I need to isolate the x still, so I can divide both sides by a 2. When I do so, I end up getting x equals 14. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for taking notes during this lesson. Make sure that you had caught the magic word and added that to the video log. Thank you very much.